Hello, and welcome to an episode of Women of Consciousness. It's been months and months since I've done an episode, and I have a lot of intention for closing out the year with this episode today. Kind of have some nerves, honestly, that I'm overcoming in this moment, but I'm here and I have intentions. And the truth is, I just want to focus on a greater message for those that are called to hear it. Um, the reflections of 2025 and really what consciousness taught me on a spiritual level of development and a human, psychological, just bigger, like what we're doing here. Right, this human narrative, this human journey, this shared collective experience of narrative and meaning. So I'm still in my final moments of realistically processing everything and closing out massive chapters of a decade. I mean, the first half of life, not even just a year, but these cycles, these greater cycles that play out in our lifetimes. The spiral of conscious evolution that happens. And so this was a 9-year numerologically, and it was closing out a decade energetically. And we're about to, in 2026, go into a 1 year of new beginnings. The structure has been weak and falling apart in the paradigm for quite some time now. And the collective, I feel like this year was surrounded with those endings and really faced with a lot of fear around just ego death, everything you thought you knew, everything you thought your life was, any type of structure that felt solid, completely cracked and crumbled. And it caused a lot of people to really face more vulnerability, more darkness, more depths of themselves and others based on that. I feel like, oh, wow, just looking at summer and where we were at summer at the peak of the light, right, of the day, of the collective energy. It was like everything was surfacing through the shadows were coming to light, right? Like everyone was running around very authentic with their just true power in a sense of narcissism or manipulation or fear, um, control, lack of control. It was just so clear. The sun was just shining on the mass and the shadows of people. It felt like it was the summer, and now we're in this polar opposite as winter begins here, and it's like the darkness, the light is trying to find, right? It's trying to find itself. It's trying to like remember itself through that darkness. It's trying to not be compressed and condensed by the darkness, trying to crack through and break through. And so how does it do that? Endings, facing discomfort and pain and shock and illusion and disillusionment. And so everything you thought you knew that was a solid reality and structure starts to be questioned and fall away. So I feel like that was really to wrap it up, this like bigger overview of like the consciousness's pro- like trajectory for the year, right? To end the year, to end the decade on this 9 energy year where everything was just falling apart, it's falling apart, falling apart. And for me personally, it was a beautiful year, of a lot of new beginnings entwined with that were very apparent. And when you see the endings, right, you can also see the new beginnings emerging. And sometimes when you're prepared for them and you know they're coming, it's easier to access and to tap into. And other times when it's the last thing you ever want and you're completely in fear of the unknown, um, it's like you're being dragged, right? You're being dragged through this threshold and plunged into this whole new world. and it's not so pleasant whatsoever. You don't know what to make out of it. It's complete chaos, and there's a lot there in that dark energy. Um, so 2025, I would say, with its endings and its new beginnings and its kind of closing out of cycles, there was a lot of completion of karma, and not even like karma for me specifically with this lifetime, but I found like soul retrieval on a massive scale through past lifetimes. Like everything needs to be like wrapped up and culminated and finished and processed by the end of this next few days. We're in this portal of energy as we are going to cross into a threshold, and astrologically there are a lot of alignments that are ending and beginning in January. Aries will be a key runner with new beginnings and closing out bigger astrological cycles through different planetary placements. Pisces, Neptune and Pisces will close out. So anyways, there are a lot of things that are astrologically guiding this. And so it's like, are you in alignment now? Did you outgrow and shed and get to where you needed to get to? Or are you repeating the cycles? Are you stuck in the loops? Are you fighting and resisting your growth, your evolutionary healing? It's really what the universe is asking us to really look at, is where we avoided self-awareness, where we got caught up in all these distractions, whether it was communities or jobs or family. And I feel like that's where all these endings really took place, on community levels, friendship levels, partnerships, relationships, businesses. Like everything was really falling away. People chose to walk away, right? Because again, seeing the true colors, the true mask, like there was a safety in being more open and honest about like who you were this year. I feel like in the falling away of things, which allowed people to decide integrity. Where are people's morals and ethics and integrity? And that was really seen on a collective level of control and manipulation, and just greed and power, right? Power, where power imbalances are, where people take power from others, where people are trying to take back their power. That's a huge conscious stage and shift, and that will play out in all of the relationships that you have, as a mirroring of yourself, and where you give your power away and how you empower yourself. And the universe, that was definitely something that humanity had to face this year. Are you standing in your power, or are you crippled by fear and giving your power to other systems, structures, people? I really feel like, oh gosh, falling short of words to describe some things. When you can step back and really be the observer of your mind and the feelings and the emotions, and that's what this year has really allowed me, is to really step back further and not be so humanly attached. There's a different higher perspective. There's a deeper eye of consciousness, right? This like cosmic ocean that's beyond the human vessel, that really fills and anchors into the human vessel. And so the journey that I really saw on my ascension process is this questioning for deeper, more meaning, and really understanding the empathic nature of sensitivity, right? Of really connecting with others, quantum entanglement, and really seeing potentials, with connections, with potentials on your own life path of what you want to create, and knowing which potentials are really based on ego wounds, or which potentials are based on fears, which potentials are based on hopes and dreams, which potentials are based on, the development and the forward movement of where consciousness is guiding you. Yes, it has been a long time. Thank you. Happy New Year's. Um, Thanks for joining. Just talking about the year, reviewing about consciousness as structure. It's always nice when the audience has always been supportive. So thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah. So really just kind of reflecting on not only my own experiences, but like just what I witnessed of the world, of the collective around me, what I saw through friendships and communities, and just really stepped back and observed all of it and witnessed it. And I will say time accelerated. It feels like what used to take us months, the lessons, the people, that would take us months to go through, this work. Now, if you're aware of the patterns, if you're aware of the alignments, if you're really aware of yourself and you're doing, the alchemy, it's like time sped up and everything's happening a lot faster, a lot faster. I noticed in myself massive completions of lifelong patterns, that it was like finally like this wake up call, like you have to see you have to see this pattern, you have to finally understand the seed of it, the past life integration of it, and we have to take this accountability and this responsibility for what we created. Because even if we were in an unconscious state of our manifestations, like for example, I've been very open and honest. Like I was a teen mom. I, went through a very rough divorce that led to my awakening and everything. So being in your teens and your 20s, you are kind of navigating life on a very ego-based reality. You're driven by unconscious inner child wounds, family conditioning, trying to figure out and find who you are. And you navigate life based on all of those aspects. And there's a ripple effect, right? Because this is where you cause pain to other people, people cause pain to you. And does it become a lifelong relationship establishments? Or do you eventually like start recognizing the toxicity and the patterns and find the healing? And I feel like 2025 gave a huge moment in time to have this greater self-awareness of reflection of what is going out into the collective karmically, whether I consciously chose to manifest it or whether I unconsciously did. And I think that's where the narrative, the ego narrative of victim comes in. And I really had to sit with that this summer, because like I'm not a victim. Like I'm not. Like I've had to work through that in my past experiences, because like yes, I was victimized. I have been an empath and a narcissist, and in those dynamics of relationships, they're usually like always somebody always feels like a victim, right? And that is a very powerful narrative to get sucked up into, that really can be very dangerous way to live and to see yourself. It's disempowering. And so to reclaim your power, you have to change the narrative. You can't see yourself as a victim. But again, human collective, this is our story. It's not even me on an individual level. So consciousness takes you deeper as you heal and as you gain awareness to things that are beyond just your individuality in this moment of now. And so really sitting with the ripple effect of a lifetime and past lifetimes of the consequences, right? The karmic consequences of unconscious manifestations that were really rooted from fear and from pain and insecurity and self-doubt and low worth. And this is a human journey. Like, this is truly how we do the alchemy. We go through the darkness to get to the golden light. And that darkness is within ourselves. It's our unconsciousness. We have to dive within our own psyche and bring it to light. And it's fascinating. And this is why I just love psychology, and I just love um the journey that consciousness has brought me on, of awakening and awareness. And that's why I feel like, if I'm going to give anything back, it's the wisdom I have to share, and the right people will be drawn to it, and it will resonate. And that ripple effect, right? That ripple effect of wisdom is the gift to the collective. I'm It's just been such a powerful, powerful year. And I really just want to encourage everybody, as we go into winter, to take time with yourself and your energy. I've been off of social media for months, completely, have cut cords, have my support group, have my focus, have my intention. But I'm just sitting with self, like, just completely in a frozen zone the last week or two, as we end this year, sitting with self, closing out like the first half of my life, and really integrating and embodying for this gateway I'm about to cross through, and the things I'm about to manifest. And there's a greater responsibility now, and I feel that. And it's one thing, and I think of the Spider-Man. Oh my gosh, me and my son and our love for Marvel. But I think of like the Spider-Man quote where, like, he's all like Uncle Ben to Peter Parker, with great power comes great responsibility. And it's such a simple statement, but the depth and the truth of that on a conscious level that the soul really carries, that's the integrity of where we're being asked to step up to. That's where we heal. That's where we really start taking accountability for ourselves and what we're manifesting in our chaos, in our pain, in our wounds, and our reactive states. Humanity is literally just running around like scared children, wild animals running from like a forest fire, chickens with their heads cut off. Consciousness is just in chaos, and in that chaos is everything. It's all potentialities, it's all timelines, it's all of existence of time and space. And it's beautiful and it's overwhelming. But when you tap into the feminine energy and the masculine energy, and you start bringing them into balance, you realize that you can create something new with that structure, with all of those pieces, that you don't have to live in fear of the unknown and the chaos. And collectively, that's what we need to do. And I feel that as the paradigm continues to shift and fall apart, psychological warfare, um, that's going to be like the next stage is AI. Like, what's reality? Where's the truth? And when humanity starts questioning reality and what's happening, that leads to ego death, that leads to your sanity psychologically. Like, you could have psychosis when you don't know what's real. And if you don't have a strong sense of self with your spiritual wholeness, if your ego will fall apart into psychosis, or it simply can't. It will hold on to its beliefs even more rigidly, with more control and more force. And that power becomes dark. It becomes control over others, because you're too afraid to live open-mindedly. You're too afraid to shift your perspective. And again, it's the structure of consciousness. It's how consciousness evolves. It's how it manifests into the human journey. It's why we're here. It's the classroom that we're learning through in the stages of evolution, and it's how we reach graduation. And then the cycles begin, and we spiral. We root through the soils and the depths. We plant seeds. We have to break through that soil and grow through to the sky, to the light, and we have to branch out. Like, all of this metaphor is the pain that we feel internally, while our soul is on this evolutionary journey that our human essence is just trying to grasp. And it's been beautiful. It's been beautiful and overwhelming. And I would say, if anything, just grounding into gratitude, grounding into the now, recognizing when you're in the anger, when you're in the denial, when you're in the pain, when you're in those heavy emotions that are really like putting so much pressure on your body, when you're in anxiety and fear and your stomach feels like you can't eat, you can't sleep. It's the hardest thing because you want to run from it, you want to numb it, but you have to sit with it and you have to go into it. The only way out is through. What you suppress and avoid and reject only grows in the shadows. And we are at a time in evolution of our conscious species where we have to face our shadows. The light is being suffocated by the darkness, by the heavy, by the density of this planet. The polarities, the way we swing with time accelerating and like having to do that work and having all this stuff come up, like we're swinging from the pendulum from one extreme to the others. Like in one day there can be like a heartbreak of trauma or like extreme joys of trauma, and then the next day is the polar opposites. And it's like the sensitivity systems, the nervous system, the mind space, it's just getting clogged and overwhelmed. So the biggest thing is to ground and detox, to pull away, to know what your energy is, to understand your body, what you're putting out there, what you're gravitating towards you. When you start having control and awareness and intention over your own energy field, it starts making changes into your own life and the collective. It impacts what you're putting into the collective, which then impacts all of us. And this planet, oh my gosh, the humanity knows, if anything, we need people to be more aware of what they're putting out. Because if you're just living in anger and fear and hatred every day of the people around you and your life and how it hasn't gone to your hopes and your dreams, and you're just living in resentment and disappointment, then this is just the reality that you're continuing to create for yourself. You need to find your own light. You need to find your spark within. And this world is not systematically aligned for that. It's quite the opposite. It's feeding off of our light. It's feeding off of our souls. It's pressurizing us into the heaviness so that it can take our life force spark. And that's where earlier this year, I think one of my first videos back in February was like this really intensified call that I had to light workers. And I was telling everyone in that moment, I remember feeling like all this passion and fiery energy because I knew I saw what was coming, and I see what's coming. And you have to find your spark. You have to find that inner child passion. You have to find that joy, and you have to allow it to ignite you. Because if you give into the depression, if you give into the anxiety, if you give into the fear and the doubt and the self-worth telling you that you're not valuable, that you don't have purpose, it's going to extinguish your light. And that's happening more and more for humanity. Those pressures, the poverty, the just the fear, that just the intolerance that's crushing souls. For us that are resilient spiritual warriors, for us that are strong, that are the alchemists, that see the reality of consciousness and the systems for what they're doing, like, this is our time of responsibility and accountability. This is our time of true intention. what we put out in the paradigm, what we start anchoring in to create for the paradigm that's unfolding for our ancestors that are going to be birthed into these realms. That's where we really need to be focusing on love and forgiveness. And it's hard. It's hard when you get hurt. It's hard as an empath when all you feel is the world of pain and fear. But to live with an open heart and a shield around yourself of boundaries and protection and knowing your worth and knowing your value and knowing your power and knowing your purpose and having compassion for humanity, like that's where we really are anchoring into. And when I look back at everything that Natalie and I created with Women of Consciousness, it was always this intention of being like this guided structure of this very educational and facilitating way of leadership to help people, to just give back this shared experience of our education and our life, wisdom and our divine purpose of like why we were born and why we're here. And I feel more than ever in alignment with soul purpose. And but yet I feel deeper now. Like I want to go deeper. And I will say, for my own, again, awareness and perspective, I stand here having cut back cords from humanity to find myself even, more deeply, to find my true connections, my true spirit team, my tribe, my family, my spirit warriors, to find my guidance and what I'm doing, to find the true purpose of what it is to be human. And I can authentically and honestly say, like, it just, the material crap, like I have everything I've ever needed or could ever need or want, and I don't care. Like I don't like I would rather travel and have experiences of the world than have objects and items. That means nothing. The material stuff really just, like, what a blessing to have comforts. What a blessing for health and security. But it truly means nothing. The true value, the true purpose I find has been in and really experiencing love and people and friendships. And every human has been betrayed or and betrayed somebody else. That goes back to the whole human story. Absolutely, whether it was consciously or subconsciously, like, it doesn't matter. We all are meant to feel those depths. But it's like, what do you do with it? Who do you become because of it? That's what consciousness is really asking you to look at and grow into. Do you keep yourself limited and stuck? Because as a collective, where we're going, especially again, 2026, when Uranus fully goes into Gemini, oh, we are going to be asked collectively to reassess communication, to reassess. And we have to, the way that we talk to each other, the way that men and women alone try to, the masculine and the feminine energy at odds, not even men and women in gender, but masculine and feminine energy. The way that the human aspect is portraying that energy and stuck and wounded in that energies, um, deep things will happen to clear and unclog, right? If you think about, like, inside the human body, like the veins and the vessels, right? Like the pipe systems, if the pipes are all clogged up with dense fucking energy, whoops, sorry, with dense energy, it's got to be flushed out to be able to run smoothly. And communication is so out of alignment because people are afraid to get vulnerable. People are afraid to show their true mask. They're afraid to go deeper into themselves and to know who they are on a spiritual and psychological and egoic level. They're afraid to get into their shadows. And then the people that are doing the work, the people, they continue to ascend, they continue to awaken, but in both spectrums, right? Because you can awaken in the darkness. You can stay in that darkness. You can find power and strength in that darkness. I mean, we see that every day, people in the darkness and narcissism and power control over others. It's a choice. It's a free will choice on where you want to, go through the spectrum and where you want to align your vibrational frequency. And some of it is just natural soul imprint just showing itself. But there will definitely be a greater accountability and responsibility being asked if we want more deeper and meaningful connections. And if you're fine with superficial drama, toxic, have a friend for a year, have a fight, and never talk to them again for your rest of your life, or have a beautiful relationship with somebody, have some chaos and can't problem resolve a little bit of conflict, and then walk away based on wounds and fears, knowing like you love each other and care about each other. Like where do we end soul contracts, right? Where do we have accountability of navigating communication to really resolve connections? Um, because I mean, there are definitely people I never want to speak to again in my lifetime, and I'm grateful that those phases have passed. Thank you for all that you taught me. I don't ever need you to come back, and I would never seek you out. I can close those chapters. But these are just questions I think are coming up for me on a conscious stage as an empath because of the evolutionary journey I've gone on. And I am questioning deeper, more meaningful things because I'm in this center of my psyche, searching for more deeper and meaning. So that's going to, of course, reflect externally. And I feel like this is the spectrum of consciousness. When you upgrade and level up, I always think of it like a video game, right? Some people are just always going to be on level 1 or 2, and they're just never going to figure out what the hell the game is about and how to move on. They're just going to keep dying and starting the chapter over. Other people are going to be like, "Oh, okay, I see what's going on here. Level up, level up, level up, level up," right? And then before you know it, you're just mastering the game. You're at like level 150, but you're wondering why you can't talk to anybody else about these levels because they're all stuck at level like maybe 25 now. And that's how I've been perceiving and objectifying and really aware of friendships and community and connection. Everybody is their own beautiful instrument in this divine orchestra of the collective. But how do we get in sync? How do we become this greater symphony of a potential? And for me, that potential is lifelong. Like, I don't want to say goodbye to people anymore. I don't want to be like, "Oh, that was a lesson so I could learn to live with an open heart." Like, I have my open heart now and I have my boundaries. Now I want to manifest consciously the most beautiful love of life, of expressing love and peace, and that's where I stand at. And I feel like consciousness, right? When you reclaim your power, when you reclaim your peace and you have your boundaries, this is the other side of that healing. This is the other side of those evolutionary stages that for like months and weeks, years, was different stories and different people, but it was the same themes. It was the same themes getting you to awaken to yourself, where you gave your power away, where you let your subconscious wounds dictate your life's manifestations. And then you sit there and say you have a crap life or everything is happening to you, and not for you. And so I feel like consciousness is really just shaking us by the shoulders as humans, and this beautiful divine mother who's saying, like, "My child, wake up. You've done this to yourself. Stop blaming me because I gave birth to you, and take accountability for the life that you're creating. Like, open your eyes. Stop running around from chaos. Stop running around from your pain. Stop hurting other people because you can't sit with yourself and recognize what is really happening within." So that I mean, that's been the structure of consciousness, and it's been a decade, um, to really come to this greater place that I'm at right now of awareness of all of this, and not even awareness of it, but embodiment. And it's different when you know it, when you hear about it, and when you're told something. It's different when you finally experience it and you embody it and you get to the other side. That's where like it's that snake energy of transformation. You shed the skin, you feel more wisdom, you feel older, you feel the graduation. Otherwise, it's the phoenix. Everything's a deja vu familiarity. Like, "Oh, I'm doing this loop again. Oh, it's a new face or a new person, but the same story." Maybe it's the same person because, like, God knows I've been holding on to them for 2 or 3 decades, and really that's what needs to go, but I've clutched to this attachment of another person that, like, I can't even separate from them to, like, save my own soul, because their darkness is what's feeding it. So, like, it's very fascinating, and there's just so much, complexity of layers, but yet it's so simple, and I feel like that's the beauty of the universe, that's the beauty of the structure. It's so complex, but it's whole, and the wholeness is simple. It only gets complex when you start to break it down, when you start looking at your wholeness of a human being and start saying, "Okay, well, what does that really look like?" Well, I have a psyche, I have an ego, I have a shadow, I have an inner child, I have a masculine, I have a feminine, I have a higher self. Like, there's all these layers, and that's when you start, like, tearing them apart, not so much tearing them apart, but, like, letting them break open, letting them crack open, dissipating them, exploring them, only to, integrate, to reintegrate into something new. And I will say for people out there doing, like, IFS therapy, that, it was just such a profound experience for me in the past year, being able to have that, and I feel like for the ego to be able to deconstruct itself, there really has to be a stronger sense of self. You have to be able to, like, go into your shadow realm. You have to be able to go into your inner child. You really have to embrace your masculine and your feminine and see the imbalance between them, see the wounds between them, and bring them into inner harmony. And that was really everything Natalie and I had started out with. Was unity consciousness, right? Because in the stages of unity consciousness, there's no separation. There's love, there's forgiveness, there's this peace, there's this harmony. And that's where conscious, the structure for this planet, that's where we're going. We're in the midst of that cleansing and that purification. We're in the midst of that honor, that celebration, that death, that rebirth. And so I guess, as I come to, like, a conclusion here, my hope for humanity, my hope for those that are listening that resonate, I really hope that you find your light. I hope you find your shine. That has been my biggest test. I saw it coming. Oh, man. With the autumn equinox, I was given the gift of premonition. I saw how my light would be the spark in the dark for this winter coming, and I'm embracing that now, but only because I've spent the last 2 months in the depths of my darkness having to find that light, being crushed and suffocated by the conscious, density of of the darkness that knows what it's doing, that knows what it's doing by stifling us and keeping us limited and feeding off of fears. Um, but when you can find your soul's resiliency and strength, when you can find your light and your sparkle and your shine, and when you can really let go of the narratives and the stories and recognize that these people that come and go, these situations, these material relationships, superficial relationships, when you can really recognize what was the deeper purpose, what was the deeper meaning, when you can let go of any hurt and pain and know that that darkness is not going to take away your love for yourself, your love for life, because you're worthy. You're here with a purpose and you have so much worth. And I just pray for people to find that within themselves. And I've been lighting a candle. I light a tea light candle every night. I have candles going every night. I have holiday Christmas lights. I have things that sparkle and shine for clothes, and like I wear them, right? And I know that I'm that sparkle and I'm that shine, and the darkness is not going to put out my light, no matter how much consciousness wants us to grow and evolve through the darkness. I will grow through the darkness. I will reclaim and I will retrieve those aspects of my soul and integrate them back, because that's the true purpose. Don't let your ego get stuck there. Find your heart, have compassion for yourself, focus on self-care, do whatever it takes to love yourself and move yourself through that space. And that's just, things are falling apart, endings are happening, the paradigm is collapsing. Evolution, we are in the process of evolution. Don't resist it. If you feel called to be a part of something greater and you don't understand it yet, that's beautiful. That's the process. It's embracing the vulnerability of the belief of yourself and your path and your purpose, even if it doesn't make sense, because there is a divine blueprint. There's a seed planted within you that the darkness is trying to like suffocate within all of us. It doesn't want us to reach that love and that growth and that unification. And that's been my 2025. Integrity, like integrity. Integrity is the moral compass of the soul. That's what's really going to guide us through these friendships, through these connections, through these communities that are falling apart and being rebuilt. Our moral compasses, everybody's got their own different ethics. Obviously, everybody views integrity differently, but true integrity comes with an open heart and love for self and love for others, empowerment with boundaries. It's not about trying to control other people for your own good. You can let go of everybody in your life, and you should know like you're provided and protected. You should not have to worry about finances, and just know the universe has your back, that all of those systems are just trying to keep you in fear and survival mode, because the soul can't thrive when it's being suffocated. But when you're thriving, that's when you impact the world around you. When your light is glowing, when you are consciously awake and aware and you know what you're putting out in the collective, that's when we start seeing the beauty of the new paradigm come. That's when we start being gravitated towards each other, and the ripple effect of what our light creates and illuminates and the inspiration that we give out. Because everything that we've been through as empaths and light workers, everything that the stages of consciousness has put us through for our development, to dissipate our egos and our past life wounds and all of these karmic things, there's a massive turning point happening now, where all of that is being asked to finally be seen and witnessed and celebrated and honored. Because you know what the true gift and the true miracle of self-worth is that I found? The fact that I'm alive in this physical body. Like, when you really think about, like, evolution and what it took for stages of consciousness to go for our planet to be able to even give life to animals, to nature, to us as species, and look at how our consciousness, like, we're on this AI evolutionary turn where we're literally mimicking how we're this mirroring of the universe and manifestation and playing God. So like the fact that we have become physical bodies and our consciousness has this awareness and we have this free will and we can choose open hearts and we can choose love and beauty. That is the gift. That was really the divine gift that my hero's journey brought me and the elixir. And now as I cross the threshold back over into this ordinary world, into this 2026 energy of new beginnings and a new decade, at the forefront, like I know what the paradigm's asking, and I'm just here to carry on that wisdom and just help inspire others any way that I can. So, and I hope that you can pass the torch. I hope that you can find your light and just keep inspiring others, because that's how we're going to continue to create a new paradigm of love and connection. And I know my soul is here to create that with purpose and intention. And after going through so much darkness and going through the final bridgeway of gray, there is a golden era that is about to be birthed, that we are creating. So thank you to everyone who is out there doing that work. You're not alone. My God, you're not alone. And yeah, thank you for your support. And I don't know. I don't quite know where I'm going to go with the podcast. Honestly, I've been putting a lot of intention and thought into it. I have new beginnings that are coming up for me. And honestly, with Women of Consciousness and Natalie and I, wow, it's probably been a year and a half since we even did anything together. She's on her own journey and I'm on mine. And the foundation of what we created is beautiful. But I'm in a massive turning point in my life, and I'm about to start a whole new path for life purpose that's unfolded. Literally, like I it's like the universe, right? Like rolled out this red carpet, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna walk it. And I think I'm pretty sure I know what you're asking of me, but I'm not quite certain how that's going to manifest into the whole second half of my life and giving back in service to humanity. But I do know that I had made an announcement on like my Facebook page for Women of Consciousness before I shut everything down. And I plan to stand by this, that anything I do with Women of Consciousness, because I have retreat space, I have land, things will be happening. The dates are starting to be worked for 2026 and set. Everything will be donation based. I will be doing some Zooms. I will be hosting and facilitating Zooms. So for other facilitators, women, honestly, for now, the space is being anchored for women facilitators who specifically plant medicine. Um, there'll be that space that I'm starting, that I will be hosting, where we will be coming together to commit just integrity, ethics, working together for support, community. Again, where we evolving as leaders and facilitators in this paradigm of plant medicine healing. And then on the other end of that, participants, people that are looking for healing, whether it's microdosing or ceremonies. There's all kinds of beautiful plant medicines that people have felt called to over the years, myself included, and that journey is unraveling. So that integration space, I am creating for the people that really need integration. What is integration? How do I embody that? What practices should I do so I can really learn something from this conscious medicine that's helping me heal and grow? So everything will be donation based that I do in the future, not for profit. That would be out of alignment with my integrity. So I know whatever happens with Women of Consciousness, it will definitely have its own out of the box and unique structure that is in alignment with my soul's purpose of being in service and just giving back, because this isn't about money. This isn't about profit. This is about helping people literally save their souls from a dark, dense, conscious planet that is trying to use us for control as a resource, and there's a higher consequence for the evolutionary journey of the soul, and there's a higher beauty to it. And that's where I'm at in my journey, and that's where I can give back to others, and that's what I truly care about. And I just have so much love for this planet and humanity. I have so much love for my life. And I feel like you can walk through the darkest days and feel so much hatred and pain and despair, and you can go to the depths of that darkness and have those lived experiences because of yourself or because of others or whatnot, but you don't have to stay there. We can come back. So I'm just rambling on now. uh, because I feel like that's the purpose of the message. That's the true importance of the message. And if, the, the intention of this was, what did, the structure of consciousness really teach me? And I want to be open and honest about that. Um, and it's not to scare people. It's not to make people worry, and live in fear. That's the last thing I want. But I think you have to question, you have to step back from your emotions and your thoughts. You have to step back from the human essence and really detach from the journey of connection and really ask deeper questions of, why is this happening and what is this teaching me? And we just get caught up on people, loving people or hating people, and punishing people or ignoring people, walking away from people. You know what I mean? And that's why we're here. We're not here to like own a house and buy stuff. Like, we're not here for material gain. We're here for connection and conscious evolution. We're here through relationships and partnerships, and all of that is on the breaking point of change and catalyst, and the paradigm is falling apart, and there's a greater responsibility to what we're creating. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. um I just hope you continue to shine your light out there for the collective, because we need it. We need it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful closing of 2025, and welcome in 2026 with some beautiful intentions of what you really want to manifest for your own potential. Like, I hope that for all of you. Have a wonderful day.